In this edition of In Person, Mike Dees' guest, despite having a Cornish name and living in the county these past 30 years, comes from a Midlands farming family. As Deputy Chief Engineer at MGM, he created models and developed special effects for, amongst others, 2001 A Space Odyssey, Star Wars and Toy Story, for which his team won an Oscar.
Hello, I'm Mike Dees, and I'm talking with the man who made Christopher Reeve fly in Superman and constructed amazing animated models for blockbuster Hollywood movies in his home workshop near Helston. Allan Healey, welcome.
Hello, Mike.
If I may make a bad pun, your branch of the Healeys were a long way from their Cornish roots. A grandfather who was Commandant at Edinburgh Castle, and father a pharmacist in London, where you grew up.
Yeah, that's right.
But after school, you undertook a management engineering apprenticeship with Napier, followed by national service in the RAF.
Yes, I decided to take a 5-year short-term commission and worked on photo reconnaissance.
You were invalided out of aircrew and posted with the information unit in Nicosia when a film industry cameraman suddenly turned up in your unit.
Yes, he found out about my engineering background and suggested I might try the film industry on demob. So I went to work for MGM at Boreham Studios and became Deputy Chief Engineer, staying there until MGM closed its UK operation in the late 60s.
What happened then?
Oh, we all became freelance. We had to find work at and where it was, based usually at the main studios, Pinewood, Elstree, Shepperton, and back to Boreham Wood at the old ABC studios, which were originally Pathé.
So all you specialist people just simply carried on, and in your case you moved to Cornwall and set up a workshop facility here.
Yes, I've had a love affair with Cornwall for a long time, and the changing working arrangements enabled me to come and live here and work here.
Tell me about some of the films you had a hand in.
Early on I worked with David Lean on Lawrence of Arabia and Dr. Zhivago, and I worked a lot with Freddie Young, the cameraman. He won 3 Oscars.
And favourite actors?
Oh, David Niven for one, and Peter Ustinov, a marvellously talented man.
Before I ask you about working for George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, how did you make Christopher Reeve fly?
With difficulty. The original flying sequences had to be vastly altered to make them work. There was all kinds of problems, technical more than anything, and the only way to achieve it is through optical printing.
He didn't actually fly as a result of your...
Well, that's a trade secret.
How long does it take to make one of these special effects films?
Varies a lot, but on the average about a year and a half.
So how did you get to work on Tin Toy and then Toy Story and work that in the case of Toy Story led to an animation team Oscar?
Well, when Pixar first started, they realised there was a problem of transferring images from a computer to film. We worked with Dunn in San Francisco, and between us, they developed the electronic system and we developed the camera system to work with it.
When you made Star Wars at Boreham Wood, the old Pathé Studios, George Lucas was in a low-budget, almost a no-budget situation.
Yeah, absolutely. We had to scrounge all kinds of bits and pieces to make the film because there's no real money to make scenery or props. So we just scrounged them in a lot of cases.
And didn't he offer people in the production a percentage if they would...
Yes, he did. But the only one that took it up was Alec Guinness, who took 1%, reluctantly. It ended up making millions.
Well, there you are. Your final project was developing a camera-related system for an American organisation. I had the dubious pleasure of seeing one of these, Allan, in operation when I lived in Washington, D.C.
Oh dear, yes, that was a speed camera. The organisation was the police.
Having retired, you became very involved with the Helston and District Community Association, becoming its chair in the 90s. What's all this about the Town Marshal's scheme?
Initially, we had our own events here, parades and various festivals where we had to provide marshalling for it. In the early 2000s, we found that we were asked to do events that the police did because of our rules and regulations.
And it's grown and grown and grown, I understand.
Oh, it's grown bigger and bigger and bigger each year. In truth, we're not really the Helston Town Marshals anymore, we're at the Cornwall Marshals.
Looking back over your long career, literally behind the scenes or even behind the scenery perhaps, in the film industry, what single movie stands out?
I think it would have to be Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines.
And your favourite special effect?
The best special effects are the ones that you don't realise.
Well, certainly Star Wars was a huge success, and Toy Story, wasn't it? You must have been
Yes.
very proud to have been involved with those.
Yes. There were breakthroughs in their own right, particularly Toy Story, which of course was a totally new technology which no one else had ever considered. I mean, when they first said to me putting computer images on the screen, I said, you must be bloody mad. And of course, subsequent to that, it's become bigger and bigger and better till it's become a monster now, quite honestly. I mean, everything they use CRI for, and it's ruined the film industry. I mean, what do you see with films? I mean, I don't often go to the cinema now. I can't be bothered. It's gratuitous sex, gratuitous bad language, and special effects, and no story.
Allan Healey, your specialised work has contributed to the entertainment of millions of cinema goers around the world. Thank you for being my guest.
Thank you, my pleasure.
In Person was presented by Mike Dees. The producer was Julian Rowe, and it was recorded on location in Helston, Cornwall, as a hearsay production for Cornwall World Radio.